marsh does not begin at its edge. Those who believe it does have already misunderstood it. There is no moment to mark, no line to cross that announces what has been done. Stone does not yield all at once. Ground does not confess its softening. One step feels no different from the last, nor does the one after it, until returning is no longer among the available directions. The marsh does not draw you inward. It does not close behind you, it simply receives. And in that receiving ensures that what comes next cannot be undone. Nothing leaves the Dread Marsh, not because it binds or pulls or swallows, but because entry is recognition too late once the threshold is crossed. What waits within has already arranged itself between you and any escape, present and patient, requiring no pursuit. Paths do not vanish here. They simply stop meaning what they once did. The marsh does not need to claim what enters it. It only needs to accept it. One step feels no different from the last, until the body realizes that what was once holding has begun to accept. The stone bears weight. The marsh does not. It receives it. Where the stone is restraint, the marsh is release. Where the stone holds the world upright, the marsh allows it to settle. This is not violence, and it is not desire. The marsh does not consume and does not seek. It is patience without intention, a yielding so complete it can be mistaken for mercy. What enters is not taken, it is accepted. And acceptance alone is enough to change what follows. The marsh does not rise against the land. The land relaxes into it. Water gathers where the stone permits depth. But the marsh is not water alone. It is what happens when motion slows too far, when consequence no longer needs to be carried forward. It is accumulation without direction. It is the settling of what no longer wishes to be held, and a quiet permission for that settling to continue. Mist lies thick, not to conceal but to soften. It settles into space the way the marsh settles into the land, dulling edges rather than erasing them. Sound does not vanish here. It shortens, loses its reach, as though the air itself has grown tired of carrying things forward. Light remains, but it spreads thin and unfocused, no longer insisting on clarity or distance. Colors deepen without brightening, greens darken into stillness. Browns thicken into mass, shadows do not threaten. They absorb not as absence, but as quiet acceptance, taking in what lingers too long and asking nothing in return. Nothing here rushes. The marsh has no need to hurry, because everything that enters in is already moving towards stillness. Life exists here, but it is a quieter form. Growth does not reach upward. It spreads outward, then inward, then down, following what gives rather than what resists. Roots do not seek stability. They seek saturation. They welcome the slow pull, the gentle surrender, the certainty that nothing will be asked of them except to remain. Creatures that endure within the marsh do not fight it. They do not resist, and they do not seek escape. To struggle here is to reveal attachment, and attachment is what the marsh receives most completely. Survival belongs to those who have learned to carry nothing but hunger. Movement becomes precise. Sound becomes optional existence. and waits at its edge, where nothing remains to be taken. From this condition arose the inhabitants of the marsh, and from then, the Gorgons claimed dominion, not through decree or design, but for inevitability. A cycle without record followed, feeding and thinning, ascent and collapse, repeating without memory or measure, uncounted and unremembered. The marsh did not create them as instruments. It does not direct them or command their hunger. They exist because the marsh allows what cannot be held to settle, and hunger is the last thing that settles. The stone preserves meaning. The marsh permits its ending. Neither opposes the other, neither intrudes together. They allow the world to endure without demanding that all things remain. But this is not how the world speaks of the marsh. Those who stand upon stone do not fear patience or inevitability. They fear the Gorgons. They give faces to what they cannot endure, names to what they cannot reason with. In doing so, they bury the marsh beneath legend, masking what it is behind what hunts within it. Stories swell around teeth and hunger and eyes in the dark, until fear settles on the creatures alone and never reaches the ground that holds them.